Have you ever woke up in the middle of a dream and it was so interesting that you wanted to go back to sleep and finish it? If so, what was it? So, I had a dream that I lived underwater with a tribe. Suddenly, whales started to attack our homes and we had to evacuate to land. Upon touching the ground and breathing the air, many of our tribes people dropped to the ground dead. I was the son of one of the leaders, so I was privileged in our trek and many of the tribes people resented me. One tribesman attempted to murder me while I was sleeping in a makeshift tent that we had crafted before night fell. He got caught and was burned on a stake as we sang and told folk stories. Now, as I said before, we lived underwater, so I have no effing idea how we made tents and fire. It was a typical journey, and then we encountered another tribe along the way and engaged in a battle. We were just about to announce them as our enemies and charge at them, but of course, I woke up. I went back to sleep and instead dreamt of being eaten alive by a chicken. I don't know how some people can remember their dreams so clearly. Honestly, I don't know if I can actually recall any of my dreams. They're always gone like 15 seconds after I wake up. Sometimes I try really hard to recall what I was just dreaming about, but I never can. Try to recall your dreams every time you wake up for like 10 minutes every time you wake up, and write down what you can remember. Consistent practice of this will lead to better recall of dreams within a couple weeks. That's what I do. I dictate everything I remember into a Google Doc on my phone each morning when I'm getting ready. I started uploading all of them into a subreddit since some people like to read them. It's fun to go back through older stuff because I typically forget all the details, so I don't even remember writing most of it. Me and the president of Iran invaded Japan. All on our own. Only us. We will watch your career with great interest. Do it. Every morning, I wake up and wish that I was wherever else I happened to be before I opened my eyes. Buck up, Dave. Get somewhere else like Rapid Man. Fight it. Thanks, man. So all of my sex dreams involve me and a steamy dude and we are both DTF, but invariably there's always this one more thing we have to do before we can get to boning. You know, save someone from being late to work, clean my grandmother's pantry, that sort of thing, and no matter what I always wake up before we get to the hot blowing. So my sex dreams are basically normal dreams, but with a ton of sexual frustration. I have yet to get one of those dreams back to finish the job. It's heartbreaking. Does your boyfriend know about these dreams? If I had one. This account was made a long time ago before my boyfriend became my wife and then my ex-wife. She doesn't really get a say in my unfulfilled sex life anymore, lol. That just raises more questions. Yeah, life is interesting sometimes, lol. It was me being able to fly. The thing is that I remember what I had to do in order to fly. Just put force on your legs and boom, off the ground. It feels satisfying to fly in your dreams. It just feels like you're actually flying. That's me in dreams too, except I have to keep on jumping to stay in the air. TW, loss of a loved one. I once dreamt that a friend of mine and I were sitting down having a coffee and having a bit of a debrief. He'd called me and asked to catch up and emphasized that it was urgent. We caught up over coffee and I finally asked why he'd wanted to catch up. He told me he loved me and that he would never blame me for what happened. I woke up halfway through our conversation and wanted so desperately to go back to sleep. I couldn't sleep and decided to flick him a message. He didn't answer. Turns out he'd committed suicide at around midnight. I drove over as soon as possible and spent the next few hours with his/our family. We are really close. Eventually, I asked for a moment to go in and see him. I needed to talk to him about what I'd dreamt and ask if he'd contacted me on his way to whatever comes next. A chill came over me. I think I was still in shock. But then I woke up in tears and riddled with sweat. I dreamt the whole thing. Woo. Man, that fucking got me. I'm glad to hear it was all a dream though. Yeah. I almost immediately forget it. Sometimes I keep a dream journal and see if I can write stories based around what I jotted down when half awake. One was, Zariah finds two kids from the middle of the farmlands and gets chased into the city. The FBI show up because the kids are telepathic or some shit and can create explosions with their brains. Then they get chased into a mall into a theater, and I'm there in the theater watching the movie while it happens. Then they exit through the top and somehow that leads to a subway station. So anyway the FBI started blasting, hitting everyone they can. Then it turns out one of the kids was SHT in the head, so now only one is left. And it was really fucking gruesome when the movie in my brain showed his body. Like IDK, where the fuck that level of detail comes from. I was fucking shocked. And then I woke up. I tried going back into it, but just ended up having a dream about a huge F movie theater in the mountains and trying to find my seat. That F sucked. I wanted to see how it ends. When I got a girlfriend. I screamed when I woke up. No, yeah, I feel you. Having a girlfriend is scary. Had a similar dream last night. Ended up walking with my arm around a cute girl's waist. No idea who she was, she doesn't exist. But I now have a crush on her. I had a series of dreams like that years ago. In the dream I feel like I'm in a relationship with this girl, whose face I can never see. And we do normal stuff like walking or shopping or arguing about dinner, and then just as she is about to turn or stand up so that I could see her face, I wake up. I always felt warm and happy in those dreams. Now they have stopped because I think that even my subconscious doesn't believe I will get something like that. Now my dreams are filled with work, death, obligation. I had a dream that the band Chvrches wrote a song about me called My Name Is a Good Boy, but he pees his pants, and for some reason there were a ton of clickbait articles about it like Chvrches destroys this fan, and my wife was worried I wouldn't be able to show my face in public, and after all that I woke up before I got to hear it, and I'm still upset about it. This is so funny. Has anyone not? So many I can't even count. Usually they are movie quality stuff, and I only get the intro or maybe 30 movie minutes in. Action stuff mostly. Did the protagonist save the day? Did the plan work? What happened? One, I was in a mall tower, and zombies were on the top and bottom. I was running up the stairs, and noticed a dog running down, and decided it's this floor or bust. The next one probably is infected. Got in and it was a bunch of office stuff and people hiding there. The rooms was completely impractical defensively. Basically each was made of wavy plastic walls with doors to match. Looked up and realized we could potentially bust open one of the ceiling's square things, common in schools and offices, and hopefully hide in it. Didn't have many options with thousands of zombies above and below. Well, I did it and crawled up. Turns out it was outfitted into an apartment. So we started getting people up as fast as possible. I'm really curious how the hell that turned out. Some of it was rational, the rest was nonsense. Unfortunately I woke up, there were kids. As a teenager, I had a dream where I met and fell head over heels in love with a girl that my sister introduced me to in the dream. It seemed like a couple of weeks of intense courting, and I was crushed when I woke up. I missed her and felt like I'd never get another chance at a connection that deep again. The intensity of the feelings passed within a few hours, but I still remember what she looked like and how I felt when I woke up and realized it wasn't real. And I remember it 30 years later, so clearly it made an impression. Looking back, I was either seriously lonely or way too deep up my own ass to have fallen that much in love with the creation of my own subconsciousness. This dream is one of many that I can remember. This one's for the anim watchers. So, this was when I was watching A Look at Helsing. I was in that hotel in Brazil, enjoying my vacation with my sister and mom. Just as my mom goes to the bathroom, gunshots fire from the higher stories. Alarms blare and people begin to panic. Some of the police rush upstairs, while others evacuate the building. At this point, my sister and I are panicking as well. We wanted to get our mom and get the hell out. The sea of humans gets so chaotic, I get knocked to the floor and ended up being separated from my sister. My brain goes haywire as I frantically search for my sister, wondering where she went. The ceiling starts to crack, and the echoes of men screaming in pain begin to echo into the air. Then this heavy and powerful presence weighs onto my body. Then the scent of blood enters my nose. I whimper and run down this hallway, just as the elevator doors ding and slowly open up. Alucard has stepped into the lobby, huge guns in hand and completely covered in blood. I felt my body go cold as I rushed down the corridors to hide from the vampire and the chaos. But I get the funny feeling that he wasn't far behind. And I was right. I hear footsteps slowly approach me location as I hide behind this spiral pillar that somehow hide behind a wall. I shiver vigorously as the bloody man walks closer and closer to me, his shadow quickly covering the entire hallway, and then I wake up. I was angry and relieved that it ended there, cause I don't think I would been brave enough to face Alucard. Dreamt that the world was overtaken by intelligent lobsters. So here's how the dream went. I was in the first with a group of people and we were escaping. At this point in time I didn't know what we were escaping from. Then the leader of my group pointed out that there were lobsters that were disguised as rocks waiting for people to pass. So thinking that the lobsters wouldn't see us, if we moved really slowly and quietly behind the lobsters, we could escape them. Just as my group went behind the lobsters turned around and a whole bunch started surrounding my group. This was when we surrendered and knelt down in the middle of the forest. While this was happening I looked up and saw that elephants were being guided by the lobsters and the only thing I thought of in that dream was, oh, we are the lobsters' food source, we are going to die, and the next thing I knew, we were saved by a different group of people who were armed. This was when I woke up and fell back asleep. There was a mini time skip in the second part of the dream. But what happened was, the humans started to win against the intelligent lobsters and we were looking for their main lair or something. So when we found it, the humans stormed the place and killed every single lobster. I myself killed one or two, but just as we were about to be done, a lobster jumped out from behind me and killed me. This was when I woke up. Thanks for reading if you did. I hope you enjoyed watching. Like, comment and subscribe for more content. See you next time.